Good evening, Crime Talk aficionados. Thanks for joining Crime Talk, and thanks for joining us for our Tuesday night live program that we do just about every Tuesday night. It was last week we didn't do it. It seems like it was longer than that, but it was only last week we didn't go live. So thanks for joining us. We are here tonight. We've got a lot to talk about like we always do. Hope you will stick with us. And if you like it enough, come join us on our Patreon show immediately following this program. Now, if you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Scott Reich. I'm a practicing criminal defense attorney. Been doing it for some 29 years now. So in reality, just about any kind of case that could possibly come up, I have probably done it. So I'm speaking from experience, and that's how this channel started. Was we, just got frustrated by seeing people on the evening news talking about a case where they didn't know what the heck was going on in the courtroom, and yet it was just all the information was wrong. So we tried to bring something where we're going to give a little more analysis into a case and do that. And over the years, we appreciate it. Our channel has grown. And obviously, we thank each and every one of you for helping us with that growth. Now, obviously, we would like to be even more growth, larger. So tell a friend, say, hey, this is the guy you need to watch. He knows what he's talking about. He'll give it to you straight. Just the way I kind of practice law as well. That's the way I deal with clients. It's straight. Sometimes I feel bad always coming to be the guy with the bad news. But that's the reality of life, and you have to deal with the reality. You can't sugarcoat it, and you can't ignore the facts, and you can't ignore the law. And that's not the way things work in real world. You have talking heads on TV to take a position on whether it's a political case or a case or politics, and they literally will sit there and lie to you that everything is great, no problems here whatsoever, and that's just not the reality of it. And that's not the way a good lawyer works. You can't ignore the facts. As a criminal defense attorney, I spend probably most of my time worrying about the bad facts. And that's what people, you got to deal with that. The good facts, those are good facts. All right, well, that's good. But it's the bad facts that you always have to worry about. And, sometimes you got to be intellectually honest, not only in a case that you're defending, but you got to be that way with the client as well. And hopefully they will be intellectually honest as well and say, you're right, that's a bad fact. I don't think a jury is going to believe that particular version of the events. So, we may need to consider a plea bargain, or if we have to go to trial, let's go do trial. So that's what we try to bring to our show here every day. Yeah, kind of give you the headlines, what's going on, a little bit of analysis of what's taking place. And then we have our Tuesday night live program whereby, we'll kind of talk about what you want to talk about. There's a couple of things I at least want to mention. First and foremost is another hearing was vacated in the Bryan Kohberger matter. There was supposed to be a hearing that was set for today, and it was continued at the last moment. And that date has now been vacated, and it was a joint motion to allow additional time for both sides to receive information. As you may recall, the prosecutor's like, we want to know exactly what's going to be said, who's going to be called as a witness. We don't want to get, have our trousers pulled down around our ankles and look silly like the last time we had a hearing. We weren't prepared. And I'm referring specifically in the Kohberger matter to the hearing where the issue of whether the survey was going to be able to take place to see whether Mr. Kohberger, Bryan Kohberger, accused of killing 4 people, could in fact get a fair trial. So anyway, there was a motion filed. The court granted it. So now the hearing that was supposed to take place today will now be heard on May 30th. But the good thing that's come from this continuance is that it looks like it will be televised and open to the public. And that's good. We like things to be open to the public. It is 2024, for God's sakes. We have the technology. We can do this. We can make sure that people can see what's going on in the courtrooms and yet still give both the prosecution and the defense a fair trial. So that's a good thing that has come from that. And on May 23rd, they're going to have a hearing as well. And that's when the witness, their expert witness for the defense, will testify. And that's related to the defendant's fourth and fifth motion to compel. And because this witness is unavailable on May 30th, this witness's testimony will take place on May 23rd. And however, it will be open to the public. But if they need to stop immediately, they'll be able to do that and close the hearing out for that. Additionally, if the hearing runs long, the court is reserved May 31st. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And they're going to have you another hearing to schedule a hearing on May 16th. So there you go. Let's have a hearing to schedule a hearing, or the judge could, in fact, just set some dates and then the parties comply. It seems like we've had a lot of stuff. I get it. The defense is saying, hey, there's information that hasn't been turned over. And the prosecution is saying, no, there is. I get it. We got to have a decision made. But let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. This case is just dragging on and on and on. And we're a couple years into it, and yet we still don't have all the discovery allegedly turned over, or there's information the defense is asking for that the thing wouldn't do. Will you take this, Frank? I believe it is our everyday happy Grubhub driver that was delivering us food this evening. Thanks, Gary. It was supposed to be here. I think we ordered it at 5:20. It's supposed to be here at 5:40. And now it is 6:17. Thanks, Gary from Grubhub. You nailed it. Not really. Anyway, so we got the Bryan Kohberger matter. We got the Karen retrial going on out there in Massachusetts. Once again, these courts take off so much time. I did a 4-week marathon trial where we were ordered to court at 8 a.m. every day. We went till 5 o'clock. We had an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour lunch break if we were lucky. A couple of comfort breaks in the morning, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And we went the full time. None of these courts, we're going to take the day off. Another case going on. The case of former President Donald Trump in New York. They don't do court on Wednesdays because the judge has some volunteer commitments that he has to take care of. I guess that's good for the president's attorneys because now they have an extra day to prepare a cross-examination that started today of his former attorney, Michael Cohen, who on direct testified that he would really like the president to be convicted. He hates him and that he's profited some $4 million on that case. And I'm not going to get into politics, but once again, this is a case that should have been televised so the world can see what's taking place. And frankly, so everyone can look for themselves and say, is this guy credible or not? Does the evidence match up? But for some reason, they didn't want it televised. You would think, hey, we have such a great and righteous case, and we're going to bring a former president to justice. Let's televise it so the world can see. Why would you want that in secrecy? Unless, of course, maybe you didn't think your case was as strong as it was. Maybe you're hoping for the best. You don't want to look like an idiot. I get that. But the reality of it is cases of great importance like that need to be televised, and judges and courts that can't find enough intestinal fortitude to actually do that, frankly, probably shouldn't be judges. I just don't get it. What is the court system afraid of? It's a public courtroom. There are public proceedings. You should be able to get every court filing made in those cases. You can in just about every other case, except Well, here in Colorado, you used to be able to do it easily. Now they make you jump through more hoops because of privacy interests. It's not privacy as to what somebody's charges are. And if you have friends in high places, they'll seal it for you to make it restricted. But, if you're Joe Blow and you get in trouble, everybody can go see your file, no problems. So just make it all public, and that's just the way it is. Yes, it's publicly humiliating. It's embarrassing. I get it. But that's what it's trial and the jury process is there for people to do. So, yes, and then we also have the case of Chad Daybell that continues. I think we're on day 22. 22. Lori Vallow's trial, his wife's trial, only went for 21 days. So it's already taken longer to try and get to the evidence that Chad Daybell was involved in the death of JJ and Tylee, as well as Tammy Daybell. So it's just, I don't know. There's a lot going on out there. It's kind of a lull in some of the proceedings, so to speak, right now. So there's not any great breaking news. I'm just, it just gets old, the continuances. I mean, I get it. But you look silly when you jump up and down, like the defense has done in the Kohberger matter, and say, we demand our speedy trial. He is innocent. We're going to get this, through and through, knowing full well you have no, you have no good faith basis to state that you're going to go to trial. And I get it. I mean, we've all done it. Oh, we demand a but come on, this is a major case. It's a death penalty case. Should have just said up front, we're not going to go to trial within the 6-month period. Just be honest. I mean, seriously, do you think that everybody, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And maybe somebody can help me out here. Maybe we have a New York attorney or something to that effect. Do we not have sequestration orders in trials? I don't know. Even in the Alec Murdaugh case down in South Carolina, I don't know if it's an East Coast thing, but when there's a sequestration order, you can't be in the courtroom. You can't observe it. You can't talk to anybody about it. You can't say anything about it whatsoever. And, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, sequestration order, for those who don't know, is basically we want to hear what witnesses have to say, and we don't want their testimony to be influenced by what is being said in the courtroom, so that people can conform their testimony to the evidence that is presented up to that particular point. It's common sense. I had to testify briefly in a hearing just the other day, and the sequestration order went up, and boom, I had to go stand outside until I was called to testify in the hearing. It was that simple. You just don't. I mean, I would love to have sat in there and see what was being said, but I didn't get to do that. So I just don't get it. Jumping back kind of to the Trump case, you had Michael Cohen, who's like commenting on what's being said in the courtroom. I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens on this one, ladies and gentlemen. The Trump case. I don't know. I've been watching it, following it, watching commentators on both sides, reading a lot from both sides of the aisle, so to speak. Most people think it's not a great case for the prosecution, probably one of the reasons why they don't want it televised. And it's just a weird set of circumstances. Like, really, we're going to spend tens of millions of dollars prosecuting a case where a company said this was a legal expense when it wasn't a legal expense. And the feds turned this down. If they thought that they could have proven the case, frankly, the feds would have been much more expeditious instead of waiting 5 years, actually almost, 5 years now. And regarding an incident that, it's just silly. I think one of the commentators from CNN said basically, let's face it, this case wouldn't have been here for anyone else but for the person's last name being Donald Trump. And I get it. Some people love him. Some people hate him. Some people, just think, oh, it's a horrible case, but it gets to be embarrassing for him. So that's good. But it's, imagine if that was you or that was your family member. Would you really think, hey, that's fair or not? Yeah, probably not, and it's just one of those things. I just don't get it. But it is what it is, and we'll see what comes of that. The defense has an extra day. And then we have Richard Allen. And if you want to talk about some attorneys that I think have just let me down, right? I get it. They're defense attorneys. Scott, you'd love the defense. No. I call it the way I see it. I really thought that these attorneys for Richard Allen, the Delphi murder case, were going to step up and say, you know what? We are going to trial. We'll see you next week, Judge, in May. I think they were supposed to start next week. And then the whole scheduling order came up. And then the judge was like, oh, we only have 2 weeks. How are we ever going to get this done? Well, gee, Judge, what are you going to do if the defense has a case in chief, but you've only got 2 weeks? What are you going to do? You're going to continue on with the case, right? Or what are you going to do? Declare a mistrial? Of course you're not. So Judge Frances Seagull, that's her name, ladies and gentlemen, Frances Seagull, Frances the Seagull. I don't think that I've seen a judge bully a set of attorneys, at least my personal knowledge, in a long time. But unfortunately, Richard Allen's attorneys crumbled. I'd be like, Judge, I'll see you next week. The prosecution's not ready to go. They don't have their act together. The defense was acting like they did. They should have said, we're ready to go, Judge. The judge was like, well, we have to continue because there's only 2 weeks on the calendar. How are we going to do this case in 2 weeks? Oh my gosh. Like I said, you don't just stop and say, oh, the defense, we're done. I'm sorry, the defense doesn't get to present any evidence in their case. Really? Judge Frances Seagull is more of an administrative role in the rest of her jobs. You think they couldn't have found time in her busy schedule to continue the trial till its end? Of course they could have. And the defense crumbled. The judge, it would have been reversed so fast if she had said, oh, we're stopping 2 weeks as a trial date. The prosecution could not even have got there. I think it was 172 witnesses. Maybe that's a little high, but it's like 130 to 170, I think they had so many witnesses. There's no way the state could have got that. Do you think she would have said, oh, the state's not going to be able to get all of their witnesses done in that 2 week time period? And of course, the state didn't call that particular time frame out as being unrealistic to the court when they were setting it, right? But yet the judge blames the defense for saying, oh, you should have asked for more time. Now we only had 2 weeks. Well, I mean, let's say that the prosecution doesn't get done. Are you going to cut the prosecution off and say no more witnesses? Oh, you didn't finish your case. Declare mistrial, Mr. Allen. See you, bye, go. Are you kidding me? So this judge, she is a bully and a thug, I think is the best way to describe Judge Frances Seagull. And unfortunately, Richard Allen's attorneys crumbled. Listen, if you're going to get up there and demand your speedy trial, you damn well better be ready to go to trial when you say you're ready to go. Remember, the prosecution, when they file charges or they indict somebody, that's them telling the world, we're ready to go. Because if somebody demands their right to a speedy trial, we are ready to go. We have all our evidence tested. We have all our witnesses lined up. We have all our expert opinions ready to go. We have everything. We've got our restitution. You name it. We are so ready. It's scary how ready we are. But it never works out that way. And, like I said, the Richard Allen's attorneys, they kind of let me down. They really, really let me down. I was expecting a trial to commence next week, and it didn't happen at all. And so I'm a little let down. You lose credibility in my book when you jump up and down, you claim you're ready to go, and then you're not. Well, why are you doing that then? Or, say, hey, it's a complex case, judge, need more time. I get it. But to otherwise do that, I don't know. Anyway. All right. So that's, a couple of things. And obviously we still got the Suzanne Morphew stuff going on. Barry Morphew shows up to the memorial service for Suzanne Morphew back in Indiana. And then I got to get this off my chest. And then we're going to go to your questions because it's our live show. We're here to answer your questions. All right. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. This Gypsy Rose Blanchard lady needs to go away. Okay. And I don't understand the fascination with this, but since everyone's talking about it, I guess we have to as well. But Gypsy Rose Blanchard was obviously, if you don't know about it, she was convicted of conspiring with her then boyfriend to kill her mother, Claudine D.D. Blanchard. And Gypsy Rose Blanchard, her mom made her believe and made her sick. And then she got all the sympathy. And I don't know. I don't think the apple falls too far from the tree, from old Dee Dee Blanchard to Gypsy Rose. Now, Gypsy Rose did plead guilty. Her boyfriend got life in prison, who actually killed the mom, who killed Dee Dee. She serves like 8 of the 10 years of her time. And she gets out. She marries a guy in custody. They get out. Marriage lasts a couple of months, and it's just ridiculous, right? So now you would think she would just, like, I don't know, as a condition of her supervised release or parole, is to get a job, go to school, make yourself a productive member of society. But she wants to be internet famous, and she just won't go away. Just will not go away. I mean, she was at some premiere of the documentary not long ago, and some other, I don't know, event that was taking place. And like I said, she just won't go away. She just won't go away. But then she made her way. I mean, I just think this is poor taste completely. So you kill your mom, and then because your star is fading, you put together a tribute to your mom on Mother's Day, and stating that you think that your mom would be happy for you. And apparently she had to turn off the comments because people were blasting her for being, well, let's call it what she is. A little narcissistic killer is what she is. Now, I know she didn't actually kill her mom, but she conspired with and convinced her boyfriend to go do that. So under the law, that's like killing your mom, just like you wanted to do it yourself. And to say, gee, I think my mom would be proud of me. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So Blanchard apparently said that emotions she felt for her late mother were hers and hers only to have. Was she a good mom? No. Was she the best mom in the world? No, but she's still my mom. So what I choose to feel about her, whether that be guilt, anger, grief, resentment, whatever, that's mine to feel, Blanchard stated. No one can take away from me my own feelings about my own mother, and I feel like nobody should be able to have an opinion about my mother except for her family and me, because we were the people closest to her. Obviously, so close you had her killed, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And I do not get We're not talking about somebody made a one-time mistake of, oh, I just listen. She had no defense. That's why she pled guilty. There was some mitigation. Okay, fine. Mother did some weird stuff. Like, just go away. Like, she doesn't have any skill whatsoever. She's been in prison. She didn't get to go to school that much because she was always sick. And yes, it was fake. I get it. But for the love of God, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, go get a life. Okay. Maybe post an occasional thing on Facebook about, something good going on in your life, not just trying to profit off of your mother's death. Go start a Munchausen syndrome by proxy, non-for-profit or something. But how about get a job? Get a job. Frank, was that you guffawing back there? I don't know what it is. She conspired to have her mother killed. Would you want this woman sitting in your, in your house? Come on in. Sure, I know you'd, kill me if things aren't going exactly your way. Maybe get a bad meal. Gonna kill you. I just don't get it. And she's just, I don't know. I don't know. But if anybody knows old Gypsy Rose, hey, you know what? She'll have a direct line here to Crime Talk if she would like to come and defend herself and explain, what she's got going on. While she was in custody, she got her GED. She was learning how, moving towards some independence, according to her, learning how to cook, clean, and even having her own bank account. Wow. I know 16-year-olds that can do all that. I know 12-year-olds that can do that and have that. So to act like, some 30-something-year-old woman, that this is some big feat, I get it. You've been in prison, whatever. But the reality of it is, I just don't like the way she is profiting on this. Now, some states have slayer statutes where you cannot profit off of proceeds as it relates to somebody that you were involved in on their case. Clearly not the case for Miss Gypsy Rose Blanchard, but it should be. I just don't get it. Gypsy needs help and not to be blasting her life on social media. I get it. Gingerbread. She's had her teeth removed. She physically tortured her kid. I don't understand why you are sympathizing with the mother. I'm not sympathizing with the mother. The mother was a bag of garbage as well. But call the police, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. You don't have your boyfriend and, get the method of killing her, making the plan, and having somebody else go do it. I get it. Mom was a nut job as well. I'm not saying she was nuts. She had her own issues, right? She wanted to be out there. Oh, I'm such a good mom taking care of a sick little girl. Oh, let me make her sick so I get more. She's got to be in that public light. You would think Gypsy Rose would be like, hey, I had my 15 minutes of fame. I'm moving on. Going to go do other things. I don't know. I'm not defending old Dee Blanchard. And I'm certainly not defending Gypsy Rose Blanchard. For the love of God, I just wish she would go away. Come back when you've actually accomplished something, not just completing your prison sentence. How about something to show you're actually a better person? You've been rehabilitated. That, if you do get a new husband that, wants to just settle down and be a school teacher and do what he needs to do, that's not good enough. I said that. You can go back and look. When she got out, I was like, this is not going to last, because this guy, she's not going back down to, I think, Louisiana, where he lived, the husband. That's not going to be exciting. She wants to go to the premieres. She wants to be out there. So yeah, that's it. Anyway, I have no sympathy for her whatsoever. And yes, she is totally trying to profit off of killing her mom. I just don't get it. Question. Will Chad and Lori Vallow, Lori Vallow Daybell, if you want to be technical, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, will they ever get to each see each other in prison? Well, there's protection orders that they shouldn't be allowed to communicate during this time period. But can people get around that? Absolutely. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. You'd be amazed at what inmates can come up with to move things, to get notes, things like that. Well, thanks for being here, Peaches81, joining us tonight. And, just kind of a little sidetrack here. And when I mean you would be amazed by what people do in custody to get stuff around. I mean, they got code systems, they pass things. It's very complex. I had once a prison case where some prison attacks and even people on the outside were being attacked. And I had a guy that was pretty high up in this gang. And one of the defenses that we had, which why we got a very favorable disposition, was because my guy was in solitary confinement. How could he be a shot caller from solitary confinement? He just couldn't do it. Prosecution couldn't figure out how these notes and things were getting passed. Well, let's just say they were. And the reality of it is that, when you have somebody that they have 24/7 to sit around and come up and devise a plan to get around the man, so to speak, they will come up with a plan. I mean, they would send notes up the toilet system. I mean, they had it all figured out where they can send it up to different floors based upon the toilets and, the pressure and the suction and all that stuff. And, the stuff that they would make in their cells, the hooch and all that kind of stuff. It was just amazing what they can come up with. And I mean, and there's a true story that they'll come up with anything. Have a client, right? Get a call from the sheriff that says, "Hey, did you send a package to client so-and-so?" Well, we've sent various letters and correspondence, but nothing recently. What are you talking about? Well, you didn't send something on this date. It's got your letterhead on it. I'm like, send me a picture. Look at it. Immediately went to my assistant. This isn't our stuff, right? She goes, no. Let them know, hey, not our stuff. But, one of the ways where they try to get around having their mail searched or illegal contraband sent in is they try to have use the attorney's letterhead, trying to indicate the attorney sending this so that the prison people don't read it or see what's in there. Obviously, it didn't work that time. And I assure you, I'm not going to jail for a client in any way possible. I'm certainly not going to help them commit a crime by trying to get contraband into the jail system. Like, hey, you're a nice guy and all, but not worth going to jail for. Good luck on that for you. So, we'll see if we now become a witness and we have to testify for some sort of a contraband case or something. But it's interesting. Mark wants to know, do you change your stationery regularly now? Well, it's funny is that where'd it go? Do you change your, there it is. Do you change your stationery regularly now? No. And I don't think I should have to. I think that's up to them being the jail, prisons, to figure it out. But the reality of it is if you're in custody, they have lots of time to figure out new things. Now we're trying to arrange something. We are going to have a guest. We'll do it maybe this week or next. It won't be live, but we'll do it. And this individual, we'll just leave it general at that, had gone to federal prison for bankruptcy, bank robbery. And anyway, this person is out now, And I think that it'll be interesting to hear this person's story of what it was like on the inside for sure. We'll just have to wait and see. Let's see here. Scott, someone asked earlier, how do you feel about the solo cups and paper grocery bags used to collect evidence in the Karen Reed case? Well, I did not see that particular testimony, but were they brown paper bags or were they plastic paper bags? I don't know. Frank, do you know? Because oftentimes things are collected at crime scenes and put into brown paper bags. They usually have little evidence things on there, but they're a little thicker than what you get at the store right now. See, because we live in Colorado, we really don't have bags anymore. If you would like to get a bag, so when you go to the grocery store and you have your bag of groceries and they start scanning them through and they're like, oh, would you like a bag? Well, unless you're going to carry them all into my house and put them in my car, yes, I would like a bag. So they charge you 10 cents a bag and maybe even more. I think it's minimum 10 cents. And on top of that, it cannot be a plastic bag anymore, which I think is ironic because you remember the reason why we started using plastic bags was because we were using too many paper bags and we're going to tear down all the trees and the whole world was going to end if we didn't stop using paper products. And well, there's plenty of trees now, and now the plastic bags are the problem. And so we're back to paper bags. And yes, paper bags is quite routine to put them in. Solo cups, not so much, but I would have to see what they were collecting and why. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, sounds like the evidence collection in Reed's case was the same person that helped it. Well, and listen, I'm gonna burst a lot of bubbles here. Okay, here it comes. A lot of your crime scene investigators, they're not the sharpest tools in the shed. Okay, I know you want to think they're all like they are in the CSI programs, and they've got degrees in chemistry and master's degrees in criminal justice, and there's a couple of them like that. Those are usually the ones working in the lab. The people out there taking the photographs, taking the collections, I swear to God, like way back when I started trying cases, you would ask the people, and how did you become a crime scene investigation person? Yeah, I didn't like being shot at as a cop, so I volunteered to start taking pictures at the scene. Or I had a video camera, and so they asked me to use it. Next thing you know, I became the CSI video guy. I'm not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lady that routinely appears in court proceedings because she's the one that she drives the truck at night. And she goes to the scene and she takes the photos and she'll collect 300 photos, the out photo, the medium photo, the close-up photo, the zoomed-in photo, the really, really zoomed-in photo. And, they'll take 400 pictures or what have you. She has no real crime scene. She's basically trained on the job. There's no real qualifications. Can you work a camera? Can you put on little booties? Don't step in the blood. Can you collect it? Let me show you how you collect it. Here, get the little swab, scoop it up, put it in there, put it in the lab, seal it up, do the inventory. I know. I probably just destroyed so many people out there that thought that crime scene analysts were the cream of the crop. And unfortunately, they're not. Most of them are not even actually certified like law enforcement officers. They're just they're civilians, so to speak. So I know you're not going to see that on CSI. You're going to think it's everything, but It's not. It's not. It's just the way it is. Let's see here. Let me go back to a couple questions. Yeah, I use the boxes. Yeah, you go to Costco, you get the, jumping back to our paper products debate that we got going on here. Mark Drum. I know some are not the brightest. Some not. It's true. I mean, it's just, okay, they use paper, not plastic. Yeah, apparently. So there you go. Paper is normal. If they'd use a plastic bag to wrap it up, okay. What you really have to watch in crime scene collection is chain of custody. Now, judges have completely done away with any sort of chain of custody issue. They think it's ridiculous. Why are you wasting the time with that? Oh, well, Judge, I know something you don't know. They don't have the right people, right? And when we're talking like DNA evidence, you got to bring the right people in. If you tested it, there's case law from the United States Supreme Court saying you got to bring everybody, the people that collected it, the people that cut the samples, the people that tested it, the people that did all the calculations. You got to bring them all. I once won a federal trial in federal court because the prosecutor, a very nice lady, and I have a case with her right now, and I think we just don't talk about it, okay? But the reality of it is we knew that she had not endorsed the appropriate witness right before trial. Well, it's not my job to do her job and say, hey, you didn't endorse this person. You going to get him over here? So we waited. She put the DNA expert up. Objection, Your Honor. Lack of foundation. We have a little bench conference, go up. Judge, this witness can't testify to this. They got to go through all the laying of the foundation, blah, 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 blah. The judge is like, you're right. You better get those other witnesses here. She's like, well, I don't have them, Your Honor. I need a continuance. Denied. She asked a couple more questions. Objection, sustained. Objection, sustained. I think she looks like she's literally going to cry in court. And I'm just kind of like, anyway, I was doing it modestly, though. I was like, Anyway, the U.S. attorney then stood up and said, Your Honor, I request a continuance in front of the jury and to get this witness here. And the judge says, do you even have them on their witness list? Timidly saying, no. And motion to continue, denied. Call your next witness. The government rested. Not a good way to end your case. Oh, by the way, you don't have the DNA evidence that you were going to get in that my guy's DNA was on the gun. Didn't bring in the right witness. Okay. So chain of custody, all that stuff matters. Most judges don't get it though. Today, they're like, well, it goes to its weight, not its admissibility. Okay. Well, we should probably get the person that collected it, put it in a little bag, went to all the big trouble of, initialing it. Right. Because you have to identify that piece of evidence is the same piece of evidence that was found at the scene. And then you have to bring it back and forth and it goes out and gets testing, right? And you get these evidence bags at a trial and they got all this red tape because it's been resealed and checked out and this and that and everything else. Well, I mean, somebody else has had access to that evidence. Shouldn't you have to explain what took place? I get it. It's supposed to be there, but it's supposed to, it's time consuming, but we're talking about somebody's liberty. I think that they should be able to have the people that open the evidence multiple times. Well, okay, what'd you do with it when you got there? Where'd it go? Did you check it back in that night or did you keep it laying on your workbench? Oh, no, I put it in a locked drawer in my workbench. Well, who has keys to that? Well, just me and like 6 other people. Okay. Well, you weren't there 24/7 with it. So what happened to the rest of the time? Well, I don't know. But judges are like, oh, we're not going to do that. That's a waste of time. That goes to its weight, not its admissibility. We'll let the jury decide whether that is a sufficient foundation that has been laid. Chain of custody, for the most part, has gone out the window in most courtrooms because judges want to move cases along, at least where I practice, ladies and gentlemen. And so that is the biggest thing that you should be thinking about when you see these people collecting evidence at the crime scene. Remember, most of your CSI agents, they always go, we're the crime scene investigative unit. We're a crack team of people that couldn't become police officers, post-certified police officers. And, but I really want to do this stuff and I can work a camera. And I'm not joking, ladies and gentlemen. They are not chemists. They are not, let's just call it what it was. Most of them couldn't make the cut. Some of them got the job if they were a police officer because they didn't like being a cop and this was an easier gig for them. I know you're thinking, Scott, why are you saying this? Because it's the truth. That's why. And so that's what you should focus on in trials. Watch who collected the stuff. Did they bring all the people in that did that? Did they bring in the actual people that took the pictures? And if not, why not? Everybody thinks everyone, like I said, these crime scene people, they all have a PhD and they're going to solve this case. And oh my gosh, look, they collected this. I mean, most of the time you can go through, most of these crime scene people barely remember the crime scene. They literally go to multiple scenes a night. They're lucky to keep up with their paperwork. They're lucky to make sure the stuff doesn't get mixed and matched. And you ask well, once you collected this stuff, Miss Crime Scene Investigator person, what did you do with it then? I gave it to a uniformed police officer who checked it in, I think. Oh, so you, after collecting it, didn't know. So you don't know who that officer was. You don't know what time it got booked in there. You don't know what they did, anything like. Nope. Okay, so we probably need to call those people to see what they had to say as to, when it arrived. Because if you got done at, 10:42, but the evidence didn't get checked into the evidence locker until 7:15 the next morning, who had it all that time? Objection, Your Honor. That goes to its weight, not its admissibility. Well, Judge, obviously I'm curious, and I'm sure some of the members of the jury might be curious as to where it was and its whereabouts. But if the court's not interested in seeking the truth, I get it. I understand. We'll just do this again some other time in 5 years when this case gets reversed on appeal, Your Honor. But yeah, it's, I don't know. That's what it is, but nobody seems to care. And, I was going back over a case that I'm thinking about, trying to do something with here on the podcast. And it was DNA stuff. And they mislabeled DNA. And somebody was arrested and charged because somebody in the crime lab put the wrong label on it and said that was his DNA in this young lady. And it wasn't him. They mislabeled it. But yet the guy got arrested, had to go through the proceedings, and it wasn't until down the road that he got the charges dismissed when the error was finally realized. We've had cases where, we say, hey, we think there's an issue here, but it's, everybody looks at us like we're a bunch of idiots. You're a bunch of fools. You don't know what you're talking about. You're no scientist, Mr. Raj. You're just a stupid little lawyer. I know. That's why I hired my expert who said you got a problem over there. We have no problem. How dare you besmirch the credibility of our crime lab? Did I tell you that we have certifications? We have certifications certifying our certifications, certified that we're certified because we're bona fide. That's what they do. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's what they do. How dare you question my credibility? Okay, it's kind of my job. It's kind of my job to do that. And then, years down the road, what do? Hey, we were doing this audit. Yeah. And remember all that stuff? They get a little lower. And then they have to write in a letter. And they say, hey, remember that audit that we told you that you didn't know what you were talking about? You're just an idiot lawyer. How dare you question our bona fide, certified, double certified credentials? Well, you were right. Yeah, there was some contamination in that DNA result. And yeah, that was our lab tech. And we're not really sure how our lab tech's DNA got into the sample, but we're really going to try to figure it out in the future so this doesn't happen again. You think I make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen? It's all real. It's all real. You know, you always think of those crime shows. I used to think this too. Oh my gosh, those writers out there are amazing. How do they come up with this stuff? Man, this is just people going down to the courthouse looking at real cases. That's all it is, man. It is. They changed the name to protect the guilty. That's about it. Because you can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. You simply cannot make this stuff up. All right, let's go. See if you got some questions. All right, I am focused. I'm off my high horse. Shoot me your questions about anything. Well, Joy, you're 50 minutes late, but you can rewatch it once it's posted. But thanks for joining us. Mark, they make it seem so sensational. Yes, a lot of people do. I mean, it's what they got. It's the latest technology. But, you know, the latest technology used to be, it's a palm print, a fingerprint. Let's, put the tape measure around the circumference of somebody's head. That's how they were going to use to identify people. I mean, they came up with the strangest stuff. And, you know, DNA is good, but it's only as good as what is there. The old garbage in, garbage out notion. And I know everyone's like, wow, there's DNA evidence. There's DNA. How dare you question it? Oh, I'm going to. Because when you come down to it, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. All DNA evaluation stuff is statistics. It is statistical analysis. And if certain people don't like the statistical analysis, they change their results. I swear to God, let me just try to see if I had something here on the DNA. And it was funny. The last trial I did, we had some DNA expert in there. And we had a young lady that had pronouns that she was using. And she literally scoffed at the DNA evidence when the gentleman said, there's either male or female. Like there's no the DNA is there, right? They can go to the chromosomes, male, female. That's it. And this one lady, she literally guffawed in front of in the jury. And we all kind of, okay. Guess somebody doesn't believe that. I was like, okay, we got somebody on our side for DNA, I guess. But the DNA is not as hardcore as you think it is. It can be manipulated, as we have seen, and I think we are all going to see here very, very soon. Our state legislature has allocated for doing retrials because of a woman who was the chief analyst and would come and testify at all these high-profile trials of how she did stuff. And how dare you question the great Missy Woods? Well, apparently it turns out if she didn't like the results, allegedly, she would just change the results. And so now they're going back through all of her years of doing analysis, an independent lab, at great expense to the taxpayers, because apparently she was fudging the numbers. And she was fudging the numbers enough that, of course, she retired. And they're going to be doing an investigation. But, come on, guys. You got one case. Let's just bring them all. Let's get this ball rolling and see where it comes out. If it's one case or thousands of cases that she screwed up on, guess we're going to have to retry all those cases. So don't think that DNA is as ironclad as everybody thinks, ladies and gentlemen. And in today's world, it's one of those deals where you almost want to see the video, so to speak, right? As you know, it's like, well, why is there no video in the case? Well, if I can't see the video, I don't want to do it. Well, now you can't even trust video. People change the video. We had a case once where the lady she edited the video. I've had where people have changed the audio, spliced it, gave that spliced version to the police. And I'm not saying that you have to necessarily be there, but here's another thing. Everybody lies. Everybody lies in the world. And you think somebody, if they weren't upset with somebody enough, would lie to hurt somebody, to damage their reputation? Of course they would. Okay. It's the, I don't know. I just, I don't know. I think that, I think people will come around. When I first started practicing law, DNA was a new thing. You used to have Shrek hearings all the time to see if it was in fact reliable. Now it's just, oh, it's reliable. It's DNA. Well, is it? Fortunately, the United States Supreme Court has said you got to bring in everybody who did the work because, well, humans are not infallible. They do make mistakes, and therefore you got to bring them all in. Ooh, kind of like that whole chain of custody thing that some courts think are no big deal, right? So things change, things come around. It is what it is, I guess, so to speak. All right. Can you believe, my gosh, we've already been here an hour. It goes by so fast. And I never even get to half the stuff I want to talk to because we obviously need more time to do this. The only question is, when do we do it? Do we do it during the day? Do we do it at night? Should I go live every night? Do I have Frank set me up that I can just hit the button and do it myself every night from home? Not sure the lovely Miss Kristen would like that, although I keep asking her to join me as my lovely co-host, and she can tell me that it is correct or incorrect because she knows who the guilty ones are. She's usually not wrong. She's usually not wrong. So, although I would love to have her on just so she could tell how when I first met her, she was this very, I don't want to say naive, but she was very, that stuff doesn't go on in my community. And, you know, I'm like, driving down the street first met. Yeah, I did a homicide there. It was a bank robbery, gone bad. It was ugly, blood everywhere, big bloody mess. Oh my gosh. And she was just like, what are you like? This is not normal. This is not normal. You know, most people, I went there, great memories, had a great dinner, a reunion. You drive through town like, yeah, I did a case there. Had somebody that shot somebody over there. Yeah. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny the way that happens, so to speak. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for the information about lawyer Lee. I don't know. I said Frank Mods listen on my way home. Thanks for being here. Peace out, Lisa. Appreciate it. All of you appreciate it. Can't believe it's been an hour already. Sorry, what we're going to do is we're going to end this, jump over to our Patreon show. If you haven't become a Patreon, now would be a good time to do so. And if you are a Patreon, well, thank you. And we'll see you there in just a few minutes. So thank you. It's a quick show tonight, but thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.